Once again, for y'all who just entered, your teams are in alphabetical order with A over to my right. We then have Army, Marine Corps, Navy, and Air Force. Thank you.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it.
As another reminder, y'all's teams are in alphabetical order with A starting to my right. Thank you. For those of y'all who just walked in, y'all's teams are in alphabetical order with A over to my right. Thank you. As just another reminder, y'all's teams are in alphabetical order with A to my right. Thank you. For all the teams who are just now entering, y'all's teams are in alphabetical order with A over to my right. Thank you.
Excuse me, green tea, easy for a sushi restaurant. Fries, alright. Music for a sushi restaurant. Music for a sushi restaurant. Music for whatever you want. I'm not going to get lost. I'm not going to go wrong. Staying cool. If the stars were edible and our hearts were never full, could we live with just a taste? Just a taste. 'Cause I love you, babe, in every kind of way. Just a little taste. You know I love you, baby.
gentlemen, good evening. The opening ceremony for the 2022 JROTC Academic Bowl will begin in 2 minutes. Please make your way to your seats if you haven't already, and take this opportunity to turn off or silence your cell phones and other electronic devices. Thank you.
Military colleges in the country, the University of North Georgia provides cadets with the foundational discipline and education to lead soldiers. One of UNG's responsibilities is to help these future Army officers make informed decisions that pairs their passions and interests with the operational needs of the Army. The 11 Army branches, while varied in mission, all seek the following 6 attributes in an Army officer. Character. Aspects of character include showing Army values, empathy, warrior ethos, service ethos, and discipline. Presence. For Army officers, presence means military and professional bearing, fitness, confidence, and resilience. Intellect. Mental agility, critical thinking, innovation, and problem-solving skills are vital. Leader. Builds trust, extends influence, leads by example, but most importantly has interpersonal skills, the ability to manage and lead other people, especially through tough situations. Developer. It's important for an officer to create a positive environment, develop others, and steward the profession. They should leverage, learn, and develop individual skills and talents to get the job done. Achiever. Gets results, anticipates, gives feedback, executes, and adapts. All Army officers are expected to get results in their specific jobs, but quartermasters specifically are called upon to be excellent project managers and multitaskers. These 6 traits establish the core set of requirements that inform our future officers of the expectations for what they must be, know, and do. As one of 6 military colleges in the country, the University
touching warm, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good.
I'm right here. You can let go. Thank you so much. Thanks. Thank you. Okay. Okay. You can go back. Thank you so much. That wasn't planned. I don't know what was going on. Thank you for playing a prank on me. Really appreciate it. I'm just going to get back to the script. So anyway, as I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. On behalf of the Commanding General, U.S. Army Cadet Command, Major General Johnny K. Davis, Lieutenant Colonel Casey Geist, Director of Army JROTC, U.S. Army Cadet Command, I welcome all of you to the 2022 Junior ROTC Academic Bowl. Located here on the historic campus of the Catholic University of America. And we also have a few special guests joining us tonight. Brigadier General Lisa M. Craig, Deputy Commander, Air Force Recruiting Service, Colonel Ted Welch, Vice Commander of the Home Center, Chief Master Sergeant Gilda Alexander, Command Chief Master Sergeant Home Center, and Mrs. Edith Pickens, Office of Assistant Secretary of the Army. Let's give them all a warm welcome. Are you all ready to get started? Yeah. That was really weak. Can we try that again? Are you all ready to get started? Yeah. That's a little bit better. Now, please allow us to introduce ourselves, your evening program team for the duration of the competition.
Howdy, y'all. My name's Kyle Nelson. I go to Texas A&M University, and I'll be starting my junior year this fall. I'm also an Army RTC with a 3-year Army scholarship.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth. I just graduated from South High School in Ohio. I was in Army JROTC. I competed last year in the leadership competition. I am enlisted in the Army, and I'm looking forward into August, which I will be in basic training. Afterwards, I will be going to OSU, Ohio State University, as a pre-med student.
Hi everyone, my name is Ani. I just graduated from Calumet High School all the way up in Michigan. Woot woot. Come on guys, come on. The last group cheered for me. Anyways, sorry, they're lame. I was here last year with my Army JRTC leadership competition. Pretty cool. And I will be going to Michigan Tech in the fall for psychology.
Thanks for turning the mic on. I really appreciate it. I'm Ashley. I'll be your main MC for the duration of the competition. I am a junior at Wilkes University in northeastern Pennsylvania. I'm a nursing major. Yes, thank you. And back in the tech booth tonight, we have Seth.
Hey y'all, I'm Seth. I'm from Sparkman High School in Huntsville, Alabama. I was a member of the JRTC leadership team last year and competed here at Leadership Nationals. I'll be going to the University of Alabama in Huntsville and majoring in chemical engineering. Nice to meet y'all.
I feel like we should give it up for our evening program team. Thanks for introducing yourselves, guys. Now, I'm sure you are all aware of just how hard you had to work to get here, but let's just take a moment to actually acknowledge how great of an accomplishment it really is. More than 3,000 high schools, which host JROTC units both across the United States and around the world, began this year's JLab in November of 2021. During the semifinal rounds, 1,200 high school junior ROTC units advanced to level 2 of February in this year. And now, here you all are today. Sitting in this room, I think appropriately named the Great Room, with the top 3% of those original competitors. So I feel like you should all give yourselves a round of applause right now. Now I have just one question for all of you. Who in this outstanding group of leaders is going to win? I'll take it, but I feel like you could do a little bit better. But it sounds like we're going to have a very exciting and competitive competition this week, so I'm looking very forward to it, guys. Now, when you think about JROTC, you think about a program that focuses on youth development and citizenship. When you think about JROTC, you think about a program that's oriented towards character education and selfless service. When you think about JROTC, you think about a program that is congressionally mandated and one that every service branch sponsors. A program where there is something for everyone and everyone is welcome to participate. Without the dedication, long hours, coaching, and support from both our instructors and support teams, none of us would be here today. So the instructors, please stand and let's give them all a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of this dynamic event. And at this time, we ask that you please stand for the national anthem and remain standing afterwards.
At this time, we would like to observe a moment of silence for the many men and women of the armed services, both past and present, who have achieved so much for our nation and sacrificed a huge price. All gave some, and some gave all. Please be seated. First tonight, we'd like to welcome Mr. Stephen Murphy, who is the Director of the Military and Veteran Student Services and ROTC program here at Catholic University. Please help me give a warm welcome to Mr. Murphy.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Catholic University of America. Congratulations on your success to date and for your achievements, both inside the classroom and out. You have all proven yourselves as burgeoning leaders, and we are so excited to have you on campus this week. Founded in 1887, the Catholic University of America is our nation's flagship Catholic institution of higher education. We also have the honor of being one of the nation's first and longest-running research universities. We have been guided by our shared commitments to the values of service to God and to our country. As a university, our alumni have included multiple generals, admirals, a Medal of Honor winner, and a chaplain who has won the most Combat Valor Awards in the history of the United States Army. Since 2020, I have served as Director of Military and Veteran Student Services here at this university. Working with students like yourselves is both a privilege and a joy. Our Army, Navy, and Air Force ROTC programs are amongst the best in the nation. For the folks here from Cadet Command, I also want to brag about our Army ROTC program, which won the MacArthur Award for being the top Army ROTC program in the Northeast. In conclusion, enjoy your time both in our nation's capital and on our beautiful campus. If you ever would like to learn more about our institution, please feel free to meet with our staff, who will have informational desks manned in the lobby. Also, if you're curious about ROTC at this university, please feel free to follow our Instagram account at @CUA Military. Thank you, have a great night, and good luck in the week ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. We are excited to be on campus this weekend, so thank you for having us. Lieutenant Colonel Casey Geist served in the United States Army for over 25 years. He served in Afghanistan and Iraq, serving with NATO, and has earned many command-level positions. He has worked with many universities to enhance student experiences and increase graduation rates. He is now the National Director of Army JROTC. Please join me in welcoming Lieutenant Colonel Casey Geist.
All right, thank you, appreciate it. First off, congratulations everybody for making it all the way here to the national competition. Give yourself a round of applause for that. You guys did a great job. And I wanted to give a quick thank you to College Options Foundation for doing this, and to the Catholic University of America for hosting it. So I feel like I need to talk a little bit about my college career, because those much younger than me group just did. So I didn't have a cool scholarship when I went to college. I went to college really to go snow skiing, and the reason I'm in the Army is because I ran out of money snow skiing. And so, but I did go to basic training, was a legal specialist in the Army, and served in the reserves for 3 years, and while I was serving in the reserves, finished my college career at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, and majoring in, all right, we got a mountain lion back there? All right, and majored in mathematics with an emphasis in business and organizational, with the emphasis in statistics and industrial modeling. Get it right here shortly. So the importance of Junior ROTC. Junior ROTC is one of our country's largest civics programs, and it teaches about service to the country. all right? And we have all the branches here tonight, and every one of them has the same mission, is to get out there and provide opportunities to students and teach them how to be better citizens. And you guys are doing a great job at that. All right, and we're all sharing the same values, and the PMS that was speaking there from University of North Georgia hit on almost all of those values that we have. And so what we're really here to do is to show you and provide you with more opportunities of things that you can do. All right, my path was going into the Army. The Army gave me lots of opportunities. After that, that major that I got in Colorado that I couldn't even remember what it was, I went on to get using tuition assistance provided by the Army to get a master's degree in business and organizational security from Webster University. I also went on to get a master's in higher education administration from University of Louisville, and then most recently used the GI Bill to go get my doctorate from the University of Georgia just this past December. So I'm not going back to college anymore. I can finally be done. All right, so a bunch of great opportunities. And so I want you, though, to think, too. You know, a lot of people think, what am I going to do in the Army and what skill, or in the military, and what skill would I want to get or take away? And if you are considering something like that, I want you guys to think about, you know, go out and have fun. I mean, there's lots of things. And the big thing that you're going to take away from the military is the same stuff that you're getting from junior ROTC. And we teach those non-cognitive skills, those leadership skills, how to be in charge, interpersonal communications with others, and emotional intelligence. All right, so if you are thinking about the military, I want you to think about what picture do you want behind your desk. You know, we have lots of cool stuff that we can do. We can jump out of airplanes. We can shoot tanks. We can fly jets, fly helicopters. They had a picture. I don't see it pop up yet. Is it? All right. Okay, so do you want to be jumping out of an airplane in that picture? Do you want to be holding the static line? Or do you want to be videotaping the Army guys doing a cool job? Just throwing that out there. All right, I have a challenge for you while you're here, okay? I want you to meet at least 2 people, every person, from another school, all right? All right, one of them has to be a different gender than you, okay? You have to learn 2 things about them, and you have to maintain contact with them for at least a year. Can you do that? All right. I got a lot of grumblings. Like, oh, I got to hold 2 here. Wow. All right. Next thing. I heard a lot of teams say they were going to win, but I didn't get to see. I wasn't turning around. So which team is going to win? All right. You guys have studied hard. You pushed yourself. Get out there and crush it in this competition. All right?
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Geist. We're very honored to have you on campus this weekend. Acclaimed actress, author, host, and neuroscientist Mayim Bialik is currently the interim host of Jeopardy! She also guest hosted the show for 2 weeks in season 37. Bialik is most recently known for her award-winning role as Amy Farrah Fowler on the hit CBS comedy The Big Bang Theory. Currently, Bialik is starring in Call Me Kat on Fox, which she also executive produces. Outside of the realm of television, she recently launched her podcast on mental health titled Mayim Bialik's Breakdown. Bialik earned a Bachelor of Science in Neuroscience from UCLA in 2000 with a minor in Hebrew and Jewish Studies. She went on to complete her PhD in neuroscience at UCLA in the fall of 2007, which examined the role of oxytocin and vasopressin in obsessive-compulsive disorder in adolescents with Prader-Willi syndrome. Bialik lives in Los Angeles with her tween and teenage sons and 3 cats.
Good evening. First and foremost, congratulations to all of you for advancing to the 2022 Junior ROTC Leadership and Academic Bowl Championship. It is such an exciting feat to have made it this far. To sit in the seats you are all sitting in today, you've had to work very hard as a team, study hard, and answer questions about current events, history, math, science, and leadership. Over 85,000 cadet students began this competition in October of last year, and now fewer than 600 of you are here to compete in the National Final Championship. I've been honored to have some recent experience with people who possess a great deal of knowledge, exhibit a competitive spirit, and are skilled at a quick punch of a hand buzzer. All these skills will serve you well at JLab. Obviously, there will be many things in your lives which will distract you. My main distractors as a young student were TV, playing with my cats, and just wanting to do anything opposite of what my parents told me to do. As I got older, many of my peers started a lifestyle of partying, and I was often on the outside of a lot of social events because I wanted to stay focused on my goals. You already know the value of that kind of discipline, and you have numerous distractions which didn't even exist when I was young. Smartphones, social media, 1,000 TV channels to choose from, and a culture that in many ways encourages partying. I commend you for your focus and commitment to a bright and confident future. It's worth it. Thank you to the National Junior ROTC program for encouraging academics as well as leadership and character development. Thank you to the instructors who have taught, mentored, and encouraged these students so that they may advance not only to this event, but that they may advance in their future studies, careers, and lives. Again, congratulations.
Now that was pretty cool, and even though I've seen that video just a couple of times before, I still think it's great that Ms. Bialik and the Jeopardy team took time to congratulate you all. So we want to thank them for that, obviously. So next on the agenda, over the course of this week, the U.S. Army Cadet Command 1st Brigade will be on campus. 1st Brigade supports the senior and junior military colleges. They provide high-quality education to young men and women in concert with a professional leadership development training program, all within a very disciplined environment to prepare them to achieve their fullest potential in the U.S. Army and society as a whole. Now please welcome the 1st Brigade representatives to the stage.
All right, so y'all just met me, so I'll keep this short. But once again, I'm Kyle Nelson. I go to Texas A&M University, and I think what I love the most about my university is all the family values and traditions we have.
My name is Rebecca McCorkindale. I met most of you at the train station either yesterday or today. I'm a senior at the Citadel. I run cross country, and I'm there on an Army scholarship. And my favorite thing about the Citadel is the historic town of Charleston, where it's located.
Hey, good evening. I'm Second Lieutenant Sam Houchin. I'm a 2022 graduate from the Virginia Military Institute. At VMI, I majored in economics and business and branch signal in the Army. So currently I am the Gold Bar recruiter for the Lexington Blue Ridge Battalion, and I recommend VMI to anyone who's looking for an extremely challenging and extremely rewarding experience.
Good evening, JLab. My name is Rhett Robinson. I'm a sophomore at the University of North Georgia, majoring in psychology. My favorite thing about North Georgia is all the opportunities they have. There's an opportunity for anything, no matter what you're interested in. I look forward to meeting you all this week, and if you have any questions, please reach out to me.
Good evening. I'm Zach Boudabous, Second Lieutenant. I'm also a VMI grad, Class 22. I branch signal in the Army, and I'm currently a Gold Bar recruiter with the VMI Army Department. So I'd recommend VMI to anyone who wants to take the path less traveled, although more fulfilling.
Howdy, I'm Cadet Daisy DeLab from Texas A&M, class of 23. I'm studying sociology and I'm part of the Corps Cadets Company A1. I love the large family that I have, and I would look forward to you guys seeking out questions to me.
Thank you, 1st Brigade, for being here and supporting JLab. And now we're going to start hearing from our keynote speaker.
At the age of 19, he learned to fly and forever touched the sky. At 21, he launched nonprofit Experience Aviation. At 23, he became by far the youngest person to fly around the world solo. At 24, he challenged 60 students to build an airplane and piloted its test flight. At 26, he received the NASA Trailblazer Award. At 28, he was one of 15 adventurers selected as a National Geographic Emerging Explorer. At 30, he launched Flying Classroom. He is a mentor, educator, humanitarian, and inspirational pilot. He is Captain Barrington Irving.
Wow. Wow, I'm really excited to be here. I know that video is a bit dramatic, and let me say this. When I was in school, I'd constantly ask myself the question, when will I actually ever use this stuff in life, right? That was me when I was growing up, and to go from that to where I am today, there's a number of things that I want to share with you guys, but before I do so, I first want to recognize, of course, our dignitaries here in the audience for being here with us today. Of course, recognizing all of you getting ready to compete, have fun, but still compete. And I definitely would like to thank the National Junior ROTC, as well as college. Oh, goodness. See? College Options Foundation. I just remember Terry, so I'm always thinking of Terry. But College Options Foundation, of course, JLab. I want to thank them for giving me the opportunity to share a bit with you all, and also just having the opportunity to talk a bit about my journey thanks to JROTC. Because before flying around the world, setting Guinness World Records, and doing all those things, I was actually in Air Force ROTC. A lot of people don't know that, right? Now, before you guys judge me and be like, oh, Air Force and all this other stuff, I've actually had a chance to work with a number of students across the country, and I've sent them off to different branches, and they've achieved their own success. But clearly, all of you in the audience are smart. Well, hopefully, right? There's no question as it pertains to that. But then the other questions come up, right? You're smart, you're sharp, but how strategic are you? How good are you at taking calculated risks in life? How good are you at just being a great human being to others? You see, being smart, it's just one part of the equation, right? And the military has all of these opportunities and options available to each and every single one of you, but sometimes you might not necessarily know how to navigate that. And part of what I do in traveling around the world and having a chance to explore a number of different things, I'll first start off with this. So this was on the floor of the jungle in the Amazon. Anyone see a viper snake in that image? A 7-foot-long viper snake in that image, just looking at you. You guys are like, I don't know if I'm ready for boot camp, right? Now, here's a close-up of it. I'm gonna go back. Anyone see the snake? It's right in the middle of the picture. And this is what was waiting for us, 7 feet long. You see, understand, yes, I get a chance to go out and explore STEM in a number of different ways. But part of my mission is to practically explore the things kids have to learn in school. Created a business around that. We work with a number of schools across the country. But you all have the same opportunities to explore the world in similar facets through the military. My dream, when I was in your stage, my dream was to go into the Air Force and fly A-10 Warthog. That's what I wanted to do, right? Now, I didn't have a traditional journey, okay? I was born in Kingston, Jamaica, left at the age of 6, moved from Jamaica to Miami, Florida. Oh, we got some Floridians here in the room. Oh, that's awesome, right? So, in that transition, I grew up in 2 of the 3 worst neighborhoods in South Florida. While growing up, I played football for a team that was ranked #1, not only in the state of Florida, but ranked #1 in the entire country. I played fullback and linebacker, ran a 4.3 and a 40, and I thought, I think I'm going to go on to the NFL. But that all changed when I had this random chance meeting with this gentleman. You see, I saw this guy step out of a nice, luxurious truck, dressed in this uniform, and he had a nice watch on, and I'm just staring at him, saying to myself, man, this brother looks like he makes a ton of money. Had no clue what he did, what his uniform represented, but he saw that I was staring at him, and he walks into the store, and he sees I'm staring at him, and he approaches me, and he says to me, hey, son, have you ever thought about becoming a pilot? First words out of my mouth, I said, sir, I don't think I'm smart enough to fly an airplane. So I asked him one question. It was the most important question I wanted to know. I said, how much money do you make? So he leaned over and he whispered to me, this was back in 2001, he said, son, I make $117 an hour. And all I could do is I just looked up at him, and it was as if the heavens were behind him. And all I could say to him was, legally? He was like, yeah, this is a real job. This is what I do. That's where my interest in aviation began. But I needed someone to push me. I definitely want to recognize all the instructors in the room here today, because this was my former high school social studies teacher, Miss Batiste. Take a close look at her face. When I was in school, I absolutely couldn't stand this woman, right? Gave a whole bunch of homework, classwork, all type of work. I couldn't wait to finish her class. But Miss Batiste saw more potential in me than I saw in myself. She constantly nagged me and said, Barrington, forget about football, pursue a career in aviation. She nagged me so much, turned down my scholarship to the University of Florida, and it was honestly the best decision I ever made, thanks to a teacher who I couldn't stand. And this woman is still my mentor till this day. So to all the instructors in the room, thank you guys so much for what you do. All right. Now, when I turned down the scholarship, my parents looked at me and they were like, well, you're the genius. Figure out how you're going to pay for school. We can't afford to send you to school. So I told Miss Batiste, I was like, I don't think I'll be able to do this. Miss Batiste, she helped me apply to my local community college. I couldn't afford school. And then she said, Barrington, you know what? You should look into the military. So while in community college, I learned about a special program that the Air Force was offering to those who dreamed to fly but couldn't afford it. I applied for that scholarship. It was with a historically black college, and I applied for that scholarship, received it, and after my private pilot's license, the rest of my training was paid for by the United States Air Force. All right? Now, while I'm in college, the gentleman who introduced me to aviation, he was like, look, you need to start giving back. You need to give back. So I'm like, okay, what if, I'm thinking, okay, what if I just fly to inspire kids? And then I said, what if I fly around the world to inspire a whole bunch of kids? So I came up with a dream of flying around the world, thought people would immediately gravitate towards it. However, for 2.5 years, people told me no. What you see on the screen is one of my rejection letters that came from Coca-Cola, right? What's hilarious is in the letter it says, Here at Coca-Cola, we focus on programs that are national or international in scope when considering sponsorship requests. I'm like, well, what the heck? You can't get more national and international than flying around the world, right? So I realized people weren't paying attention to what I was trying to do. And this was the one pair of dress shoes I owned at the time. Notice how many holes I have in the bottom of those shoes? 3 holes in the bottom of those shoes, and I wore them in major aviation events like this one. Walking from booth to booth, trying to figure out how exactly will I be able to fly around the world. Now, in order to fly around the world, the first thing you need is a plane. This was my first plane. It cost $650,000. Yep. I couldn't afford a $650,000 airplane. No one wanted to rent me a plane, lease me one, or let me borrow one. So I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to pull off this journey? Well, I was sitting down on my bedroom floor, and then I had this light bulb moment. I want to see how smart you guys are. What happens when people steal cars? No, what really happens when they steal a car? Oh, yeah, y'all watch way too much Disney movies. Ooh. No, they strip the parts of the vehicle and illegally sell it. So I said to myself, if different companies manufacture different parts of a car, I wonder if different companies manufacture different parts of a plane. So I used my street smarts, approached all the different companies who manufacture different parts of this aircraft. So for example, the propeller costs 30 grand, engine $83,000, navigation equipment 70,000, 4 seats in the plane $30,000. List goes on and on and on. I approached 42 different companies. Instead of asking them for money, I simply asked them for the one part that they made, and I pieced the plane together one by one, and that's how I outsmarted the system and got my hands on a $650,000 airplane. Okay? That's part of what this competition is about. Not just to see how smart you are, but when you're put in real-world situations, real-world challenges, how will you react? We know in the military, there is no time for giving up. There is no time to quit. Failure is not an option. But even the smartest person can be broken, right? So I'm trying to be resourceful with my back against the wall. I'm able to get my hands on this airplane. The youngest person to fly around the world prior to me was 37 years of age. I worked with a tremendous group of people, a lot of unsung heroes who helped me to coordinate traveling and flying around the world. Had no weather radar, no de-icing. Any pilots in the room will tell you that is absolutely a reckless way to fly. But all these skills that I learned in school, science, math, literacy, geometry. When I was in school, I couldn't stand geometry. I'm like, they're shapes, so what? Guess what I had to learn all over again in order to figure out how to fit an extra 75 gallons of fuel in my airplane to have the ability to fly 16 hours nonstop across different parts of the world and over the oceans. Had to learn geometry all over again. The application of what you learn in order to advance to the next level is everything. So this was me in Cairo, Egypt, flying around the world. Took me 97 days, 145 flight hours. Made 27 stops in 13 countries, set a Guinness World Record of being the youngest person ever to fly around the world and the first black man to do it. But a lot of that, amen, amen, a lot of that leadership, I kid you not, came from my experience in ROTC. And you guys have tremendous opportunities to do so much more in life. After flying around the world, we started to do different projects with young people. You're looking at one of them. We challenged kids to build airplanes from scratch. That plane was built in 10 weeks by high school kids. We started working with kids from all different types of backgrounds, different parts of the country, and just continuing to have success after success building airplanes. I then decided, you know what? I was thinking about buying a Ferrari, and I said, what if I have kids build me a car faster than a Ferrari? Crazy, right? This is what they did. Ferrari 430 Spider does 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds. These students built a car that does it in 2.7 to 2.9 seconds. I just started going on a binge of just exploring the world, helping students do a number of different amazing things. And every single project in life starts like this. Just a frame. You have to apply all these skills in order to create a finished product. You see, every single one of you right now, you're just a frame. But there's all these skills and different things that you're going to learn within the process in order to get to where you want to be. Now, I get a chance to go out, explore the world, do a number of different things with amazing people. Why? Because I simply want to bring to life the things that you not only have to learn, but how does it actually work in the real world? It's one of my favorite images. Remember what happened to Dory in the first Finding Nemo. Don't swim with jellyfish. But through these subjects, you're able to do these different things. I want to share this quick video. Notice this woman, she calls an Uber, right? The military is actually adopting this technology right now. She calls an Uber. She does something interesting where she walks into a building and then gets into an elevator. Why would you get into an elevator if you're about to catch a cab? Ubers are going airborne. This technology exists, guys. These are eVTOLs, electrical vertical takeoff and land vehicles. The Air Force just tested one of these a few months ago that they're about to adopt. See, the future is here for you. But you have to be prepared to take advantage of the opportunities. Why would Uber do this? One of the things that kills their business is rush hour traffic. So they said, why not use an electrical vehicle, utilize the tops of buildings to transport people from point A to point B, get them there much faster, and make more money while they're doing it. These opportunities are limitless that await you in a number of different facets. We're really excited about some of the things we get to explore. For example, medicine. I had a chance to speak with some of you. Innovative technology. Teachers wanted me to highlight the digestive system, so I traveled to Israel, swallowed that pill to give you guys a virtual tour inside my body. This is what inside my intestine looks like. You guys have the exact same thing. All right? So we go out, we explore, we're able to do a number of different things in real world. Look, guys, at the end of the day, yes, you're about to compete. Yes, you guys are going to push each other to greatness. At the end of the day, what this is all about is for you guys to be empowered and to really achieve your highest self through the military. Countless opportunities await. And once this competition is over, you still have the game of life to play. I started off from 3 holes in the bottom of my shoes, would have never imagined owning airplanes, being an entrepreneur, doing a number of different things. But that core leadership began in ROTC. So I encourage you all, pursue greatness, but remember you can achieve your highest self through the branches of the military. Guys, good luck, and thank you so much once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Irving, for your very inspiring words. On behalf of JLab, we would like to present you with a token of our appreciation. You are a tremendous inspiration, and we loved hearing from you. Now please turn your attention to the screens for our safety briefing.
Hello everyone and welcome to JLab 2022. My name is Ani and I was a competitor last year, but I came back to volunteer. So I'm going to be going over a couple of rules and regulations for you folks. While in DC, please remember to drink enough water. It will most likely be very hot out. You can document your pictures and experiences and share them with us using the hashtag JLab2022. To avoid congestion in the cafeteria, only eat in the dining hall during your specific mealtime. If there is an emergency, make sure to call 911 and notify your instructor. If you have some other problem that's not life-threatening, you can always call us at 888-576-8287, extension 1. Here are a couple of COVID precautions. On campus, we encourage you to wear a mask, especially if you are unvaccinated. Some locations in DC may require you to wear a mask. Please check before entering the building. Additionally, you can check at washington.org for information about COVID restrictions. When possible, it's still a good idea to social distance. Always remember to wash your hands thoroughly and frequently. It helps get the germs off. Good job! If you begin to feel unwell or have any symptoms of COVID, please put on a mask and contact your instructor. DC Clues is a virtual scavenger hunt. You and your team will open the JLab app on the night of the event. One member can make an account, and you can document your journey throughout the monuments. While in DC or on campus, it's important to stick with at least one other member of your team or your battle buddy. This person is with you pretty much at all times, and it keeps you accountable and safe.
My accuracy unparalleled.
Hey guys, it's 10 o'clock. Y'all better get to your dorms right now. Against the rules.
Hey!
Boys aren't allowed in girls' rooms and vice versa. If you want to hang out with Brad, you're going to have to do so at another time.
Emotional damage, emotional damage, emotional.
Always remember to keep your lanyard on you, as it will allow you to get into the dining halls on campus.
Rules for the Metro. 1. Red blinking lights mean that a train is approaching, so stand back. 2. No eating or drinking on the Metro. 3. Sanitize your hands after traveling on the Metro. 4. If you need a map, there is one on the Metro app.
While riding the escalators, remember to stand on the right and pass on your left. It is important to keep your Metro card in a safe place because you'll need it every time you want to get on and off the Metro. Remember that DC is a big city, so you're going to want to keep your belongings in a safe place so they don't accidentally get stolen.
You've been hit by, you've been struck by a smooth criminal.
Now, all of you have worked very hard to win the right to be here and to compete against the teams that are sitting next to you right now, but to beat them in academics. But as in life, there is another competition going on, one at a deeper level. This is not about what you know, but more about who you are and how you interact, your emotional and social intelligence. And this includes integrity and teamwork. And in the military, we call this what? Can anybody tell me? Yes, esprit de corps. Good job. We are excited to announce that we will award one team at the awards ceremony, the 5th annual Colonel Carlos R. Glover Mega Hua Esprit de Corps Award. So how do you win this award, you might ask yourself? Over the next 4 days, you will not only be competing against each other, but you will be eating together and traveling together and basically just interacting with each other in many different settings. We want you to be watching these other teams, meeting them and evaluating them on their esprit de corps. Are they encouraging, friendly? Are they energetic and positive? Are they making you feel welcome, and are they introducing themselves to you? Are they showing up for all other events and even cheering on the other teams? We are looking for the top team that demonstrates these positive qualities throughout the JLab event. You will vote for one team that you think provided the best example of esprit de corps throughout the 4 days, and you'll do this on the JLab 2022 app. So be sure to download this app and log in with your email address that you registered with. Now, do keep in mind that this is not a popularity contest. Remember that you get only 1 vote per person, and you will not be evaluating other teams on how funny they are or how social they are, but rather on these deeper qualities of participation, teamwork, and spirit. Remember that other teams will be watching you throughout the competition, and no staff or instructors will be a part of this voting. So the award will be given solely on the vote of your peers. So good luck, cadets. Now, thank you. Now, who is ready to compete, sightsee, and have a great time? Now, at this time, we're going to have a 5-minute intermission before the competition instructions. You can take this time to stand and stretch, but we ask that you remain by your seat so that you can get to them closely afterwards. Thank you.
I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize what you do to me. When you hold me in your arms so tight, you let me know everything's alright. I'm hooked on a feeling, I'm high on believing that you're in love with me. Lips as sweet as candy, its taste is on my mind. Girl, you
Everyone,
got
please start
me
returning to your
thirsty.
seats. The academic competition instruction briefing will begin in 2 minutes.
Got a bug from you, girl, but I don't need no cure. I just stay a victim if I can for sure. All the good love when we're all alone. Keep it up, girl. Yeah, you turn me on. I'm hooked on a feeling. the good love when we're all alone. Keep it up, girl. Yeah, you turn me on. I'm hooked on a feeling. I'm high on believing that you're in love with me. I'm hooked on a feeling. And I'm high on believing that you're in love with me. I said I'm hooked on a feeling. And I'm high on believing that you're in love with me.
Hey, where did we go? Days when the rains came. Down in the hollow, playing a new game. Laughing and a running, hey, hey. Skipping and a jumping. In the misty
This
morning
weekend,
fog with
Mr. Dave Bykowski will be heading up to
hearts
Academic
thumping and
Before
you.
we leave for the night, Mr. Bykowski is going to
brown-eyed
review
girl.
competition information and rules. He has over 20 years of experience in organizing and executing thousands of academic competitions around the world. You will immediately notice his
And whatever happened
ability and expertise, as he's also a
Tuesday and so slow.
where he won
Going
an
down
impressive
the
sum of
old man with a
$50,000. Lucky for
transistor
us, Mr.
radio.
Bykowski volunteers to provide his service.
Standing in the sunlight laughing. Hiding behind a rainbow's wall.
College academic professor,
Slipping and
world-renowned
sliding
academic bowl expert, will be judging
all along the waterfall with you.
Bykowski will now come forward and explain how your
My
competition
brown-eyed girl.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Dave Bykowski.
You, my brown-eyed girl. Do you remember when
Thank you very much. for
we
the
used to
wonderful
sing?
introduction. It's really always a joy to be here.
Just like that.
And I want to tell a little story before we get started. Now, essentially where things out that I come and put our team together and we all put this on and that this is really the only competition that we run. That wasn't always the case. And I kind of want to tell a little story going back a number of years to 2014. That year, sadly, there was no J-Lab
just the other
because
day.
government funding had gone away.
You have
So, after a
grown.
number of years,
Cast
I
my
helped out
memory
in
back,
another
well, Lord.
national competition for high school
Sometimes I'm overcome
that,
thinking about it.
from an organization I've
Making
been a part
love
of
in the
many
green
years.
grass.
And I went,
Behind the
I read
stadium
less
with you.
teams, high schoolers across the country.
Brown-eyed girl.
But it definitely didn't feel the same. The students, they weren't really enjoying it as much. It was maybe a little conflicted. Maybe it was, oh, well, you're not reading fast enough. We don't really like that. The whole attitude really wasn't the same. And it got to Sunday, some of the championship rounds, and I wasn't really involved in that. I was told, oh, you're free to go, but stick around, go and watch. And for the first time in nearly 20 years, I really thought, I really don't care who wins, who loses, what happens here. I think I'd rather just go to the airport like 4 hours early for my flight. I'd enjoy just sitting there with a glass of wine and a book and enjoy that more than watching the rest of this. And went home and kind of thought, well, it was a nice run. It's probably the end of my career doing things in academic quiz bowl competition. It was nice, it was fun, but government money doesn't come back. So imagine my joy when it did come back in 2015 and we were able to put J-Lab on again. And I told some of our team that have been around from the beginning, and we found more and more people, and I said, guys, we're back, let's go. And why did I want to do it? It was because of you. This is a brag on you, even though I haven't met a single one of you. But I feel like I kind of know who you are because of the ones who have come before you. Because never before have I seen a competition where there is such support for your teammates, your fellow competitors, the teams that you're competing against, and honor. I'm pretty sure we had a moment where there was a team who it was tied at the end of regulation, and okay, we're going to look, and okay, here's a tiebreaker question. Moderator starts reading the question. One team says, oh, we've already heard this one. Now, in other competitions, I'm sure there are plenty of teams who would take advantage to go and be like, oh, well, we know this, we're going to buzz in, we're going to get the win. But you all don't want that. You want to win with honor, and that counts for so incredibly much. So there's my brag on you for why we come back and do this, because there's no better group that I've worked with in 20 plus years than you all. So that's all on you. So please give yourselves a hand for that. And I know that there's not going to be another group that compares, so why try? I'm good with doing just this one event every year when it comes to this field. So we're going to go through some of the rules tonight. We're going to, as we have time, some of you may get an opportunity to do some practice questions here on the buzzer system. I'm going to introduce my number 2, who you're going to see plenty of this weekend as well. He is the only guy who's been here since the beginning, going back to when we started this in 2007. And you know, I can't really say enough about all the things that he's done, especially when it comes to finding more staff volunteers and organizing logistics, and in many cases helping me to keep my sanity when things got a little tough. And so I want to have him come on up here, Mr. Derek Winkler. Now see, the last time we had 2 microphones, so we could kind of tag team real easily here. So
I'm also really loud. I don't need a microphone.
So, how many of you have seen the practice round and prior competition years online? Okay? Familiar with the College Options YouTube channel, hopefully. Good. So, oh, look at this. Perfect. Thank you, Brandon. Wonderful service. So, yeah. Hopefully you've seen that. We're not going to go too much in depth as far as some of the specifics of the format. We want to make sure to go and get time to answer your questions that may not have been clear from seeing the rules. You all got copies of the rules of the competition, right? Good. So we'll go over a couple of things from there that are particularly of note, answer your questions. Some of this maybe just makes more sense by seeing it right here up on stage. So, all right, first question for you. How many quarters are there in the game? Just yell it out. 4. Yeah. Okay, they're quarters. I kind of gave you that one. All right, fine. First quarter consists of what kind of questions? How do you get to answer a toss-up question? See, there we go. All right. And if you get it right in the first quarter, how many points do you get? 10. Great. We're just going to keep moving. Second quarter is? All right. Who gets the bonus question? Whoever gets the toss-up right. What if you miss a bonus part? What happens? The other team gets a chance to steal. We have 4 of those in the second quarter, 8 toss-ups in the first quarter. Third quarter is the category round. How many questions are in a category? 10. How many points are they each? 10. And who gets to pick first? The team that's trailing at that point. If they're tied, we do a coin toss. So, fourth quarter, how many points are questions worth? And what kind of questions are they? All right, good. There you go. There's the game. Good job.
We can go home. They know what they're doing.
All right, let's talk about what is a correct answer. Derek, you love this part.
I do love this part. So a correct answer is an answer that gives enough information to narrow what you're saying down to what we're asking, but doesn't give any incorrect information. For instance, if I'm asking you a question about a US president, and you say Washington, that is sufficient. That is enough information. There is only one president in the United States who's been named Washington thus far. And so if you say Washington, that is a correct answer. If you say George Washington, that is a correct answer. If you say George Xavier Washington, that is not a correct answer, and I will not tell you why. I will just say that is incorrect, and I will ask the other team if it's one that they can steal. Because Xavier was not his middle name. I actually don't know what his middle name was. It would say it on the page if he had a middle name, and if you gave it and it was correct, that would be fine. But we do encourage you to give information that's not, don't give us too much and then be wrong. A good example, actually, I believe it was one of the championships last year, it was a question, and the answer happened to be Genesis, the book of the Bible. And the team it was a question about a book, and the team rang in and said, Bible. And I said, can you be more specific? And they said Genesis, and I gave them a correct answer. If they had just rang in and said Exodus, that would have been an incorrect answer, and I couldn't have given them points. We got it? So if I ask for a US president and you say Bush, and I say prompt, more information, can you be more specific, any of those sorts of things, that is telling you your answer is too broad. It may or may not be close to a correct answer. It probably is at that point if I've said that, and I need more information. If you say Bush and I say prompt, and you say George Bush and I say prompt, and you say George H.W. Bush, and it was George W. Bush, you are wrong. Here's an important one, if you say George Bush and I prompt, and you say George W. Bush, and the answer is George H.W. Bush, I will not prompt you, even though that's a partial answer, because George W. Bush is a separate person, and you have given me incorrect information at that point. We understand? Awesome. Another thing that I love to tell teams, if you don't know and it's a person, say Smith. You might be right.
We've seen plenty of times that happens. Also, who are the math people here? Yeah. You're going to find a few questions that will say pencil and paper ready, and they'll be math questions. Number one, give your answer in the simplest form that you possibly can. Whole numbers are great, 1, 12, when that's correct, obviously. Fractions need to be reduced, so 1/4 or 1/2, not 2/4, 3/6, 3/9, things like that. If you give a decimal and it's the same as a fraction, that's correct, as long as that's the right answer, of course. So it doesn't matter as far as what exact format like that, as long as you're giving it in reduced form and that it's equivalent to what the correct answer is. When we have the question sheet, and we've gone through all of these questions already, we've had really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think about 5 or 6 people who have looked over the entire set at this point. And so we have entire answer lines that show pretty much what we would believe to be every single possible correct answer, and even in some cases things that are specific to say, do not accept this, because it's not the same. So we go based off of that. Reduce your math answers to simplest form. Obviously, calculators are not allowed. You're not going to need one. There's not going to be anything that's going to require that much work. Most of the questions, by the time it gets to the end of the question, you'll probably still be able to get within 5 seconds. If it's a little harder and it takes a little more time, at the end it's going to say something like, you will have 10 seconds. I am almost certain that there isn't a single math question that will have anything longer than that. That's kind of my spiel on math questions. I don't think I missed anything there you can think of. Okay. Let's talk, speaking of correct answers, what if you ring in, give an answer, and we say that's incorrect, and either the other team gets it right or nobody gets it right, and you find out what the correct answer is, and you think that your answer was correct. Right. Number one, here you go, another little humble brag on y'all. You all are very good about doing that respectfully. I've seen plenty of other times where people will go on and be like, protest! I don't see that here. I've seen, we'd like to challenge that. Excuse me, anything like that where you're bringing it to the moderator's attention such that you have a question or you think that your answer may have been correct. Number one, you have to do that pretty much as soon as possible, either before the next toss-up is read, or before the next bonus part is read, or before it goes on to a bonus question, things like that. And then the moderator should stop and listen to what it is that you have to say. If they can resolve the issue right there in the room at the time, if it is a oops, yeah, you're right, I missed this thing on the page. They will correct the situation and move forward. If they know for a fact that they can explain why, well, your answer is incorrect because it may be one of those, well, it actually says right here on the answer line, do not accept this. Or if they have knowledge on that particular subject to explain why that answer was incorrect, that that person didn't do that thing, or that your math answer wasn't actually correct, then they can explain it there. If they're not sure, then they will mark it down on the score sheet and note it, and come back to adjudicate it at the end of the game if it affects who wins or loses. So let's say it's a single 20-point toss-up question that there's a potential protest that's unresolved. Then they'll finish the rest of the game. If one team wins by 50 points, doesn't really matter who gets that question right. It's not going to affect who wins or loses. If it's by 30 points and your team got it incorrect and the other team got it right, then it could affect the outcome. It might be 20 points for you, 20 points less for the opposing team. Now it's affecting who wins or loses the game. At that point, it would get brought to basically the tournament committee of pretty much myself and Derek and one other person to get the information, look things up. We have a lot of resources. We've spent a lot of time looking at the questions. We have a number of years of experience. And so, we'll reach out and do whatever we have to get a clear ruling and decision, and to be able to present that to the two teams about this is the decision that's been made and here is the reasoning why. So we do everything we can to ensure that the competition is fair and that you have all of the information about why things may have been decided one way or another. And on top of that, we're going to give every single opportunity for you to get points, for you to get questions right. You've gone through 2 rounds of competition to get here. You're clearly the top 63, I think the count is now, teams in the country here, and we want to reward that. We want to celebrate that. I mean, there's no point in us holding points back from you. So, any questions that anyone has very quickly specifically about challenges or protests? Just because I know that in particular can be a topic where people aren't sure, and I just want to make sure that we have that pretty well settled before going on.
What if the answer choice we're contesting is considered a controversial answer? Such as, say, for example, who invented the telephone or light bulb? Since there are several answers to those questions.
We're going to say, if there's something like that again, if it's unresolvable, we'll be able to, it would go to a committee, there would be enough research and to say, this is even if it's to say, hey, this is the source that we use to verify this. I don't think that there's necessarily something, I get where you're coming from on things where that may be nebulous, and I think I haven't seen something where there's been a question like that to be asked as though, well, yes, this is very definitely exactly what it was. So.
Yeah, in general, the clues in the question are going to disqualify several different answers. So it may ask you something, it may end with who is attributed to inventing the light bulb, but there will be other things in that question that disqualified this person, that didn't apply to this person. So there will be one correct answer to that question.
In general, yeah, every question is going to have, as you'll see, multiple sentences that ultimately pinpoint down to a single answer. So.
You said that if we think that our answer was right, we could ask for an explanation. But even if we think our answer wasn't correct, can we still ask for an explanation as to why our answer was wrong?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
more
didn't
of a
know if,
matter
like-
of, just at least bringing up, it's important to bring up the challenge or protest, whatever, use whatever terminology that you wish there, and to go and bring that up to then be addressed at that time.
I will also say, if I understand your question, if it's just for informational purposes, I would wait till the end of the match and then walk up to the moderator and say, hey, that toss up on such and such, I want to understand why it was wrong, and they can probably help you with that.
Okay, I see one hand over there.
Do both teams have to attempt to answer a question before a challenge can be requested?
No, no, it could be, well.
Before a challenge can be, like, you have to wait.
Oh, okay, oh, I misheard, yeah.
So yeah, so you do have to give the other team an opportunity to answer before, because you might actually find out, oh, that's why it was wrong, because it was this other thing. And we also don't want to taint the question, because let's say you protest and you're wrong, the protest process will reveal information to the other team. Right? And so we would rather wait till the question is completely done. I'll actually give you a scenario. I had a team A buzzes in, gives me an answer. I'm not sure. I judge them incorrect. I let the other team answer. After the other team has answered, then I'm like, all right, let's talk about this. You said this, but that's not on my answer line, and blah, 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 and we can talk about the question. Then I don't want to taint the process and then have to give the other team an opportunity for those 10 or 20 points that they missed out on.
If a team doesn't know the answer to a question, can they just say, I don't know, or do they remain silent?
Absolutely. You can say no answer, or I don't know, or say Smith.
I do know there's not a single question where the correct answer is no answer, and I'm pretty sure there wasn't one where the correct answer is I don't know. So, I'm trying to think of, as far as, before we just take general questions, if there were specific other topics to go over.
So one thing I want to, so we'll get to your question in a second. So one thing is also on correctness of answers, pronunciation. So if you are in the ballpark, we'll take it. If you don't know how to pronounce a word, you can spell it. And as long as you get most of the consonants kind of in there and in the right order and we can tell what you mean, it's fine. If you know something in the original language and you don't know the English translation, give us the original language. First of all, it's probably on our answer line, and if it's not, we can Google Translate and figure out what you were saying. I had someone lose points in a tournament for not doing that. They tried to translate it to English, they translated it wrong, and they got the wrong answer. If they had given it in the Russian, it would have been correct. So give us answers. If you don't know how to pronounce it, do your best. We may ask you to repeat an answer, either because our hearing is bad, or there was the air conditioner in the room is loud, or we just didn't hear you. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. Also, once you've given an answer, you can't change it. If you say, I don't know if this is probably not a real thing, aldehyde, and I say what, and you say formaldehyde, you can't do that. You have to like stick with your original answer, but I may ask you to repeat it just to make sure that I understood what you were saying.
Yeah, the key point, I think, especially, is whatever answer that is clearly directed at the moderator is going to be considered to be your team's answer. So it may be that player 1 buzzes in and the team consults. Player 3 looks directly at the moderator and says whatever their answer is, let's say aldehyde. It doesn't necessarily matter. That's the answer that has been directed to the moderator. That is considered to be the team's answer. So use your consulting to your advantage, but make sure that that when you're giving an answer, or when you're not giving an answer in particular, that you're not directing it at the moderator, because the moderator, whoever that is in that room, will take whatever appears to be directed at them. That's the key point, I think, especially to that. If you change your answer, we're going to go off of what we think that we heard the first time if you change it. So even if you know it's wrong, say the same thing again. Not to mention, if you change your answer, hey, you may be giving the other team information such that maybe they'd get something right that they might not have otherwise. Be as clear as you can, just like we as moderators will try to speak as clearly as we can. If we're not sure, a great example on the spelling one is, I know of a student once where they were answering a question about a painter, and you couldn't quite tell the first vowel sound. And I know there's Monet, and I know there's Manet. And I just ultimately asked them to spell it. Now, they could have spelled it M-O-N-A-Y, which is not how Monet's name is spelled. I didn't care. They gave me the information that I cared about. Okay, yes, that's correct. It was enough to make it clear what it was that you were looking for, to make it clear what the answer is intended to be, in that sense of clarity. I hope that makes sense there. We're not generally going to ask you to spell answers unless, really as basically a last resort. But again, it's all about wanting to make sure we understand very clearly exactly what it is that you're trying to say.
I think the other quick thing to go over is timing, so I'm going to use Dave's question and answer method. After you buzz in, how long do you have to give your answer? Good. After the moderator has finished reading the question, how long do you have to buzz in? Good. So if you wait and you buzz on 5 seconds, you then have another 5 seconds in which to give your answer. So that's a total of 10 seconds from the end of the question. After I have ruled Team A's answer incorrect, how long does Team B have to ring in? Another 5 seconds. And after they ring in, how long do they have to give their answer? Another 5 seconds. Good. Again, the only exception is if the question ends with you have 10 seconds, then you have 10 seconds. We will still say that is 10 seconds to buzz in. You still have 5 seconds after buzzing in to give the answer. It is always 5 seconds after the buzz to give your answer. On a bonus part or a category question, after the question is finished, how long do you have to give your answer? That is also 5 seconds.
For the first team, it is 5 seconds.
Yeah, the exception is, and I heard someone say 2 seconds, the exception is I rule Team A incorrect. They took the full 5 seconds. Team B now only has about 2 seconds to give their answer because they've had the same amount of time to think about it. If I finish reading the bonus part and Team A immediately says 536, and that's not the right answer, I will give the full 5 seconds to the other team. That's not a chance for you to like spoil your team and only give the other team and give them only 2 seconds. There will be at least 5 seconds after the conclusion of the question to consult with your team. Any other timing things I forgot?
No, but I think that's a good point, especially, and this is where probably for those of us who enjoy math, where you're probably not going to see many questions that say you have 10 seconds because in general, you're going to know fairly early on what's being sought after in the question. You're going to be able to work through it as the rest of the question's being read. And then you might be able to go and buzz in and still have 5 more seconds before you have to give your answer. We try to encourage every moderator before that 5 seconds is up to say something like, I need an answer, or your answer please, or on a bonus it may, because it's a habit, to say, Captain, your answer, please. You don't specifically have to have a team captain. It can be nice, it can be useful, it's whatever works for your team. But to give, in general, we try to have the moderators give some sort of prompt so that you know, oh, I need to give an answer right now, otherwise time will be called. It is moderators' discretion about timing in the room. If they call time, if their judgment is that they called time before you gave your answer, it is their discretion. It is their judgment there. We hope that moderators will, and we certainly encourage this, to go and say, I need an answer, please, basically pretty shortly before they would call time. They might not always do that. We're not clones. We try the best that we can as far as training each other, but every moderator is going to have a slightly different style probably in ways because we're not identical. We'll do the best that we can to go and do that, but I just want to make sure there is at least that little bit of understanding where if someone doesn't do that, we tried, and we certainly encourage that practice. I think that largely covers it as far as timing.
We had a question over here. Do you still have the question?
And then I think there's another one a few rows back.
If we were to challenge a toss-up question that includes bonus questions, how would you decipher who's going to get the points for that one?
For something like that, that's where the protest or challenge needs to be made before the bonus begins, so right after the toss-up question. If it can be resolved, great, move forward. If not, it gets worked out as though, as though there was no challenge, and then that point, however many points are in abeyance, is used to determine, okay, could this have impacted the outcome of the game? And then that's where it all gets determined that way. If it's determined, oh, hey, the points were given to the wrong team, Team B, who issued the protest, should have gotten points and the first opportunity at a bonus, then presumably a replacement bonus would be used for them to have that first opportunity at points.
Are we allowed to wear watches?
First time we've gotten that question.
That
isn't
is
it?
the first time
I don't
in-
think
in
I can't see
15
why-
years
I-
of running
I
this
can't-
event, the first
I mean,
time.
as long as it's a regular watch, not a calculator watch or any other sort of functionality.
No smartphone watches.
No. I mean, yeah, it's a watch and not a communications device. I know Apple Watches can be used for communications, but if it's just a watch for a watch, yeah, that's fine.
Also, if you're glancing at your wrist after every question, I'm gonna have questions.
Hi, hello. I actually have two questions. For the math section, do we have to answer with units?
Presumably, no. It's as far as does it have to be given in units? Presumably, the question will say how many milliliters or how many grams or something like that.
Although, as a corollary, if it asks for an answer in feet, if the answer is 12 feet and you say 12 inches, that is incorrect. So it is generally better to just give the numeric answer, and if we need more information, we will ask for it.
Okay, thank you. My second question is, can we buzz in and answer before the moderator is done reading the question?
Oh, yes. Yeah. It would definitely be to your advantage in many cases where, let's say, this is a true story. This is an actual question in competition that when I was playing came across. It began, he invented the folding chair. He also invented bifocals. There were literally 4 more sentences after that, but we're all slamming on the buzzers after that because we knew anyone know who invented bifocals? Benjamin Franklin. Yep. So, yes, definitely to your advantage there to buzz in as soon as you think you know the answer on a toss-up. Yeah. You don't need to buzz in on bonus questions. You don't need to buzz in on category round questions. There are some moderators, I'm definitely one of them, who I will actually go and even say, because I'm used to people saying, oh, can you clear, please? And it's like, oh, it's a bonus. And I'll just routinely often, after a correct toss-up, say something like, we'll leave the light on for this bonus. I'm not pitching Motel 6 there. I'm just saying, just sort of, that's at least my way of saying, yep, it's a bonus. There's no need to buzz in here. I'll clear when we get to the next toss-up.
Okay, so if, for example, the formaldehyde thing, so like if you said aldehyde and then that was wrong and then you said formaldehyde, that'll be wrong. But what if, like, for 2/4, you said 2 and then you realized 1/2? Would you have to count it wrong, or could you switch it to 1/2 halfway?
I think it really needs to be the first clearly completed answer. If you're catching yourself in like mid-word or mid-answer as far as what it is, that's probably going to be acceptable.
Okay.
I would say, like, if, for instance, and again, I don't know if this is an answer this weekend, I have no idea, but if I said John Wilkes Booth, generally a moderator is going to accept that as an answer, right? Because it's clear that before you completed the answer, you corrected yourself. If you said John Wilkes Booth, then no, we're gonna say it's incorrect.
Right.
Okay. And then also, will it be after every single time the moderator will address you by your name to show that they bring it?
Not necessarily. I think that's definitely a stylistic thing. I will often, like my style happens to be, and this is where you've got the placards with your team name. I like to go and make it clear as far as, as soon as a team rings in, to go and be able to say, Wilkinson County, or some such like that. Not every moderator is going to do that. You don't have to wait until you're recognized to give an answer. Some might not do that at all. I've seen some where it'll just be they'll see whose buzzer it is and they'll go, you're in, something like that. Or they might not even say anything, but they might start looking in your direction and quietly counting 5 seconds. It's great when they're able to recognize, I think, just because it makes a consistency. But yeah, you don't have to wait for that, and it may not necessarily be given every single time.
Yeah, and I will say also, if you do not have to wait to be recognized either. You can ring in and immediately shout out an answer. If the other team happened to ring in and it wasn't you and you shout out an answer, The other team can use that information that you just shouted. They get an opportunity to answer because they rang in. We don't cancel the question just because a team member shouted an answer out. Does that make sense? So if you give information and you weren't the one to buzz in, now maybe you were wrong and the other team will take that and be wrong. I don't know. But if hopefully you had the right answer, but hopefully you waited until you were confirmed that you were the one that buzzed in before you gave your answer.
Are you allowed to ask for repeats on words for categories of bonuses?
Yes. So we make it clear that you can't that the moderator will not repeat an entire question. If there is a word that you're not clear of, or a couple words that you may not have caught or understood, or you're not completely sure exactly what was said, you can ask the moderator for clarification on something specific. But having, say, an entire sentence reread, anything like that, the moderator will not do that. Some words, some people with some words may be more difficult to understand than others, and so, yes.
Did you say chin or shin? That's valid. Can you repeat the last sentence? That is not valid.
No. That is correct. Yeah, the worst you can do is leave a game with the 0 points you came in with. You cannot lose points. That is. We're not going to do that. No, we will never do that. That's fair. So. I want to talk just for a moment about the overall tournament format. And what time have we got there? 9:06. Okay, good. Running well. So, Army teams. There were going to be 32 of you. There are 31 of you who have made it to DC. If you have a match against Wilkinson County will not be attending. They did not make it. It counts as a no contest. It's not a win. It's not a loss. You have the ability to play the questions however you want in the room, divide in half, 2-on-2, 4 of you versus the coach, however it is that you want to go and do it there with the resources that are available in the room. It's not a win, it's not a loss. And it doesn't affect things in that way because when we do the rankings to determine who goes to the playoffs, it's based first on your win percentage. So it's not, oh, well, you only played 8 games instead of 9, so therefore, there's a distinction in terms of number of wins. It would be a 4-4 team would be right in between a team that finished 5-4 and one that finished 4-5. So win percentage followed by average points per game played. Obviously, total points wouldn't be fair if teams didn't play the same number of games. So that's how rankings are determined to see who goes to the playoffs. For the Army, up to 16 teams will make it to the playoffs, based on having first on number 1 having a 500 or better record. You have to have at least a 500 or better record to get into the playoffs. If you went 4-5, it's not quite going to cut it. And then ranked by points per game. So up to the top 16 will qualify there. I'll take a question real quickly and then pick back up.
All right, so my school actually does go against Wilkinson, so how is that going to affect our average? Won't it skew that because then some games will be worth more than other schools?
I would say the other 8 games that you'd be playing would still, in terms of your record, in terms of win percentage, and in terms of points per game played, you would be listed as having played 8 games, and so it would be whatever points you scored in those other 8 games. So you'd have a total number of points divided by 8. A team that played 9 games would have their total number of points divided by 9.
Okay,
That's
thank you.
what would be the comparison there. So, for the Air Force, there are 17 of you. We have up to 8 playoff spots. You all have 8 games on Saturday. And Saturday night, online, live streamed, I believe. I know I'll be back here to record announcing the playoff participants. Again, that will be for up to 8 playoff spots. Same rules apply. Have to be 500 or better win percentage to qualify, and then up to the top 8 would go to the playoffs there. Marine Corps, there are 8 of you. You've got 5 games, and same thing, up to the top 4 will qualify for playoffs. Navy, there are 7 of you. You've each got 4 games. Up to the top 4 will advance to the playoffs. Again, same qualifying standards apply. Now, this message is especially focused in particular to our Navy and Marine Corps teams. I know that, I'm just going to say, putting the schedule together this year for this tournament because of the different numbers of teams has been the most challenging that I've ever had in 15 years here. And we have a few rooms where there's not a game. It's listed on the schedule as open. I know the Marine Corps teams, the Navy teams, you've got fewer competitive matches than the rest of the teams. So I'm giving you all the priority option on this. That if you don't have a game in one of those rounds where there is an open game, then after we are done tonight, you can, if you want, fill in for 1 spot in 1 game for tomorrow for one of those open games. We will use those as just general practice, for fun, for competitive spirit kinds of games. They don't count for or against your statistics at all. It might end up being that you've got a Navy team playing against a Marine Corps team. Great, it's an exhibition match. As they say in Rocky IV, this is not for the title. So these are basically going to be first come, first serve after we're done tonight we've got space for 2 teams. Please, 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 only sign up for 1 spot so that we have as many different teams that have an opportunity for an additional practice game as possible. I'm giving first priority to the Marine Corps and Navy teams because they have fewer matches and because it might be difficult schedule-wise. We put the schedule together so that Air Force teams, you've got matches that may be in back-to-back rounds, you're staying in the same building. It probably, if you've got a match in let's say in round 6 in Shahan, it's probably not advantageous for you to sign up for a practice game in McMahon in round 5. You might find yourself literally running to make it to your actual It Really Counts game on time. So that's another reason why I'm saying Marine Corps and Navy teams, I know you've got less of a schedule, I'm prioritizing there. Army teams, I know you're in Pangborn, and then Pangborn, and then Pangborn some more. So, might be a little bit more difficult. After the Navy and Marine Corps teams tonight have had an opportunity, if there's still space available, okay, if you can make it work, it's up for grabs to go and fill these in. But again, these are just for practice. The questions in round 1 are different from those in round 2, and from round 3, and 4, and 5, and 6. Every single round number is different. So,
and one quick thing about timing. So if you are late for your match, that is okay. We will not start the match without you there unless you're, more than 10, 15 minutes late. We also, the moderators, we have a Slack group. We communicate with each other. If the competition is running late, we know that. People say, hey, Pangborn's running 10 minutes behind, and we over in Shahan will know that, and we'll not start a match without you. The one exception is we did have a team last year who did not show up for their 9 o'clock game because they thought their first game was at 9:30. Nothing we can do about that. They forfeited the match. The other team won the match. So please make sure you know where you're supposed to be and when. We will not be draconian with starting matches right at 5 o'clock, or nothing's at 5 o'clock, at 10 o'clock or whenever it's supposed to start. We will give some allowance.
See a hand up here. Yep, you. Right here.
Ask your question.
Oh, that should be the same ones that were listed above there. Thank you. I guess that was not caught in editing, I guess. So whatever the column is, on the Army side, it's going to be, I think, Pangborn, G3, G24 is probably there, G35. I don't remember the exact room numbers. Whatever's listed above at the top of the column just propagates all the way down. Yeah. I want to take, okay. Got a couple other things to go over, and I want to make sure to give an opportunity for some people to be able to actually get on the buzzers and do some actual practice questions, especially for some of you who haven't heard similar questions before. Yes. So when you buzz in, demonstrate. You're gonna, I would say, most of the buzzers are going to be like this one. You'll hear it, there will be a tone. Everyone's gonna know. And then whoever buzzed in first, their light is going to be flashing.
Some of the buzzer systems have malfunctions where the lights don't work anymore, but you'll be able to know that when you get in. Also, they tend to make distinct sounds, so you should figure out, we always do a buzzer check at the beginning of the round. The team should figure out what sound their buzzers make at the beginning of the match. So you hear that's a lower tone versus a higher tone on the buzzers.
You were going to go over the microphones, Brandon.
For these microphones, we only use these for the championship rounds and the test rounds, but if you end up at the championship rounds, these microphones are push to talk. So I'm holding the button on the front of it. The thing to remember is all of the microphones have speakers. So if you're conversing about an answer, you don't want to be holding the button or they will hear you talk.
We'll probably go over that again if you're in all of the championship finals you've noticed are in here, so probably go over that as far as the microphones again. If you win for your service branch, because at the very end we see that the winners from the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marine Corps all compete in the Joint Service Championship. And I will talk with you a little bit right after your championship match, but also about 15 minutes before the Joint Service Championship, so about 4:45, those four teams we will meet, and I'll mention it again to those teams that it's relevant for, in a room across the hall and go over a few small rule differences because there's four teams up on stage for the Joint Service Championship, so a couple of small rule tweaks for those teams before the Joint Service Championship final. I would like to make sure that we've got some time to do some questions, and seeing that it's 9:16, we have a hard stop at 9:45. So what I'd like is no more than one person from any school, and we're going to just kind of line up off stage, and we'll take 8 at a time and do a few questions, and we'll go until we run out of time. Okay, gotcha. All right. Yes, which one is that? Midway for round 1? Okay. Got it. Thank you. You want 6? Okay, you got it. All right, that's orange. That okay. All right. You have about 3 minutes per group. Okay. Well, we're not going to get it. We're not going to get it. Yep. Kofa, you got it. Okay. Sorry. Yep. Okay. That closes out round 1. Yes. Okay. Okay, you got it.
So real quick, everyone, while we're getting set up, I just had a question that I would like to address the entire room with because it's very important. If someone on your team buzzes in, anyone on the team may give an answer. We generally like the person who buzzed in to be the one to give the answer because then you're not shouting over each other and the other person on your team doesn't give an answer when you had something else you wanted to say. Also, you're allowed to confer with your team on every question. Keep it to that 5 seconds. But anyone on the team can answer. We generally like, if it's going to be someone else, that you point and say defer or they're going to give the answer or whatever if you were the one to buzz in, but that is not required. Does that make sense to everyone? Awesome.
Quick note before we get started, Derek, I'm going to give this over to you. So we've got a number, we've still got a few spots left. Derek, I'm going to let you kind of help to fill for any of these spots for teams that come up. We've got one for round 6, one for round 8, and both for round 12 right now. Yeah, so you can go, if you're interested in one of those, Derek will be happy to help you. Let's go ahead and start by doing a buzzer check here. We'll just go from closest to me right down the line. Buzz in, give your name and your school, please. Yep, push to talk.
Christian Pineda Delgado, Brentwood High School.
Yep.
Julia Shelby, South Lakes.
Giancarlos Gonzalez, Everglades High School.
Wyatt Carter, Fullerton Union High School.
Antonio Lanave, Lake Braddock High School.
Brian Tang, Pompano Beach High School.
Zan Evans, AP Brewer High School.
Chloe Lee, Francis Lewis High School.
All right, here we go. This is the first quarter. Toss-ups are worth 10 points each. Hands on your buzzers, teams. And here we go. These are questions that we actually used 3 years ago. The new 9 were recruited for this program, which used Titan II rockets. During the 4th mission of this program, Edward H. White performed the first EVA, or spacewalk. For 10 points, what U.S. human spaceflight program was so named because each mission was crewed by 2 astronauts? Any takers? Yes, that is, yeah, go for it.
Gemini?
Gemini is correct for 10 points. There you go. All right, here's another toss-up question for you. This god was born in the cave of Cyllene after Zeus sired him with one of the Pleiades. This son of Maia, who owned a staff entwined by 2 snakes. Yep, go for it.
Hermes.
That is correct, 10 points. Next toss-up. In this city, a red brick office building co-designed by Dankmar Adler stands as one of the earliest skyscrapers. Eero Saarinen designed a curved steel monument to honor U.S. westward expansion in this city. For 10 points, name this city home to the Wainwright Building and the Gateway Arch. Yes?
St. Louis.
St. Louis is correct, 10 points. This country's smallest region is the Åland Islands, an archipelago in the Gulf of Bothnia. This northernmost member of the Eurozone is separated from Estonia to its south by a namesake Gulf of the Baltic Sea. For 10 points, name this Nordic country whose capital is Helsinki. You're in.
Norway?
That is incorrect. Chance for the other team to buzz in. Any takers? Time. Audience. Finland's the right answer. 10 points to the audience. Let's go ahead and do 2 more here. 3 characters in this novel, though they were not born on the same day, agreed to die on the same day in an oath sworn in a peach garden. In this novel, Cao Cao is defeated at the Battle of Red Cliffs. For 10 points, what Luao Guan... Yes?
The Three Kings?
Say that one more time, please.
The Three Kings.
That is incorrect. I'll continue. What Luo Guanzhong novel is named for the states of Wei, Shu, and Wu? Any takers? Time. Anyone in the audience? There you go. Very good. Romance of the Three Kingdoms was the right answer there. All right, here we go. One more, and then we'll bring the next group of cadets in. In 1872, this man was Victoria Woodhull's running mate for the Equal Rights Party. An 1845 book by this man describes his 2-hour fight with Mr. Covey, a brutal Maryland slave breaker. For 10 points, name this escaped slave who wrote such books as... Yes?
Frederick Douglass.
Frederick Douglass is correct for 10 points. Could have also just said Douglas, and that would have been correct. Thank you very much, cadets. We'll take the next group of 8. So one thing I'll mention while we have the next group of cadets coming up is that you're probably noticing that there is this phrase in each of these questions that's a toss-up for 10 points, or in the fourth quarter for 20 points. And that is generally going to be a cue to you that, hey, this is probably going to be coming up on the end of the question. And in general, the easier clues to point you to the answer are going to come later in the question. So keep that in mind just as you're hearing the questions being read. It's usually going to start with something that's pretty difficult and then get easier and easier and easier down to the last clue in the question.
One other thing real quick, Dave. So I know we're just having fun tonight, but on the Gemini question, for instance, I heard people in the audience go, Gemini, it's Gemini. I know I did too. If we can hear it up here, it's a problem because the teams can hear it, and then we have to throw out the question, and we have to throw out the offender. In 15 years of doing this event, we have never had to throw someone out of one of these large rooms for doing that, or any of the smaller rooms. Just know that your voice carries more than you think it does.
All right, let's check, make sure the buzzers are still working. So same thing, closest to me down the line, ring in and give your name and school, please.
Paulo Castillo from San Marcos High School.
Ian Vasquez, Pine Forest High School.
Storm Pena, Davenport High School.
Evan Easley, White Station High School.
Bargrove Chowdhury, Enloe High School.
Jacob Ben, Bellbrook High School.
Olivia Gerganis, Pender High School.
Jonathan Essian, Douglas County High School.
All right, we're going to do some sample toss-up bonus questions here. So the team that gets it right will get the first chance at a bonus question. Here we go, number 1. A ruler of this kingdom established the League of Corinth after victory at the Battle of Chaeronea. Another monarch of this kingdom conquered the Achaemenid Empire at such battles as Issus and Gaugamela. For 10 points, name this ancient kingdom led by Philip II and Alexander the Great. Yes, on the end. That is incorrect. 5 seconds to ring in. Yes?
Greek.
Also incorrect, Macedon or Macedonia was what we're going for there. All right, no points. We'll take it. We'll give it another shot here. In 2014, a woman in Sweden became the first to give birth after a transplant of this organ. Fibroids are benign growths in this muscular structure that contains endometrial tissue and is connected to the fallopian tubes. For 10 points, name this reproductive organ also known as the womb. Yes?
Uterus.
Uterus is correct for 10 points. And we'll leave the light on here for your bonus. This deity was inadvertently murdered by his blind brother Hoder. For 10 points each, first, name this son of Odin who was killed by a spear made of mistletoe. Answer, please. Yes, Balder is correct. Next part, mistletoe was the only living thing that refused to swear an oath to never harm Balder. That oath was imposed by this goddess, Balder's mother. That is incorrect. Chance to steal. The other team. Answer, please. Okay. I have Frigg or Frigga as the answer there. But you back to you, though, for part 3. You still get all 3 parts, though. According to Norse lore, Balder will be reborn after the conclusion of this apocalyptic battle. It is Ragnarok, yes. So you get the first and last for a total of 20 points on the bonus. We'll go ahead and do 2 more real quickly here. A form of this biological process called estivation is brought on by aridity and high temperatures. Large species like bears undergo hyperphagia to increase fat mass just before starting this process. Yes?
Hibernation.
Hibernation is correct for 10 points. And again, you get the first opportunity at this bonus. In this novel, Milo Minderbinder sets up a syndicate that has no loyalty to any country. For 10 points each, first, name this novel in which Yossarian discovers the tidal principle, in which claiming insanity to avoid having to fly missions means one has proven one's sanity. Okay, chance to steal? Anyone in the audience? Catch-22. Catch-22, the answer there. Great book. Back over here for part 2. This author set Catch-22 during World War II. Incorrect. Chance to steal? Also incorrect. Both very reasonable guesses. Joseph Heller was the answer there. Back over here for part 3. A squadron commander in the novel with the rank of major has this unfortunate name given to him by his father as a joke. Answer, please.
Hut Hut.
Incorrect. Chance to steal? Answer? Time. Major. Yep. That is unfortunate, yeah. Okay, one more. Here we go. This city's Metra commuter rail extends to its suburbs of Naperville and Evanston. This city's waterfront can be traveled via Lakeshore Drive, which follows the shores of Lake Michigan. Midway Airport and O'Hare, yes. Chicago is what we're going for, 10 points. And this bonus. Like the centrifugal force, this force causes an apparent deflection of objects in a rotating reference frame. For 10 points each, first, name this fictitious force which only affects moving objects. Incorrect? Chance to steal on the other team?
Centrifugal.
Also incorrect, the Coriolis force is what we're going for there. Back over here for part 2. The Coriolis effect causes moving objects to be deflected to the left in this hemisphere.
Southern.
That's correct. And finally, the Coriolis effect explains why Foucault's pendulum undergoes this type of motion, in which the axis of a rotating object changes orientation.
Circular.
Incorrect. Good guess. Over here. Answer, please. Precession is the term that we're going for there. All right, thank you, cadets. We'll move on to the next group of 8. Yeah. We still have, right now, if teams are looking for a practice game, 1 slot left for round 8 and 1 for round 12 for tomorrow. So if you're interested, please see Derek. And normally we'd go to the third quarter here, but we have buzzers, so what fun is that? We'll just continue with buzzer questions. Let's go ahead and do a buzzer check. So again, same process. Close down the line. Name and school, please.
Bo Davis, Arizona's best, Sunny Slope High School.
Jeremiah Soul, Valencia High School.
Robert Rasmussen, Vilsec High School.
Martha Rocha, Pebble Hills High School.
Tatiana Howard, Wilcox County High School.
Joshua Kemp, Northside High School.
Ying Tan, Lincoln High School.
Abhimanyu Varma, Ardrey High School.
All right, here we go. These are fourth quarter toss-ups worth 20 points each. Hands on your buzzers. Here we go. Number 1. This phenomenon causes formic acid to dimerize and holds individual strands of Kevlar together. Fluorine, nitrogen, and oxygen can be donors for this type of force. Water's high boiling point is caused by, for 20 points, what intermolecular force involving the lightest chemical element? Yes?
Hydrogen bond.
That's correct for 20 points, yes. A useful note, if he had just said hydrogen, I would have said more specific, please, or more information, please. So, number 2, a Peter Davis documentary about this war is named for its hearts and minds strategy. William Colley faced a court-martial in this war after Charlie Company killed hundreds of civilians at My Lai. The Tet Offensive in 1968.
Vietnam War.
Vietnam War is correct for 20. I really hate that I have to skip the math questions because we don't have paper and pencil up here. All right, we'll give it a shot here. Okay. All right, here we go. Pencil and paper, ready. Virtual or otherwise. Alex needs to know the age of her grandfather, given that her grandfather's age is 3 times her own age, and the sum of their ages is 100. By setting up a system of 2 equations with 2 unknowns, she computes for... Go for it. 75 is correct for 20 points. I tip my cap. Number 4. This novel's title character is stabbed to death by Quincy Morris. This epistolary novel's antagonist kills Lucy and stalks Mina Murray. It begins with solicitor Jonathan Harker traveling to the Carpathian Mountains. For 20 points, name this Bram Stoker novel about a
Dracula.
About a legendary vampire. Dracula is correct for 20. Yes. 2 more. In 1984, 4 alleged muggers on this city's subway were shot by Bernard Goetz. The song Take the A Train refers to a train in this city, the most populous city whose subway is run by the MTA. For 20 points, name this city whose... yes?
New York City.
New York City is correct. And last one for this group. This quantity for a liquid column equals the liquid's weight per unit volume times its depth. The standard atmosphere is a unit of this quantity equal to 760 torrs, or 101,325 pascals. A barometer measures the atmospheric value of, for 20 points, yes? Pressure is correct. Thank you very much, cadets. We have time for one more group. All right, let's check those buzzers one more time.
Shreyas Shivaba, Bedford High School.
Justin Sir, Crescenta Valley High.
Push to talk on the microphone. Yep.
Oh, Aryan Cuddy, Franklin High School.
There you go.
Savannah Daniel from Midway High School.
George Pena, Cleveland High School.
Jeff Drury, Wasatch High.
Justin City, Clover High School.
Michael Basemak, Grove City High School.
All right, we'll do one more set of 6 toss-ups, and I think that'll be all we'll have for tonight here. Here we go, number 1. In primates, the simian shelf appears on this bone, which lies beneath the maxilla. Yes?
The jaw?
Yes, I can take jaw or jawbone or mandible. Any of those is acceptable for 20 points. Number 2. As Prime Minister, this man helped pass the Catholic Relief Act 1829, granting civil rights to Britain's Catholics. This commander won the Battle of Vittoria in 1813, ending Joseph Bonaparte's rule over Spain. For 20 points, name this British duke who won the Battle of Waterloo. Yes?
Cromwell?
Incorrect. 5 seconds to ring in. Anybody? Time. Anyone in the audience? Duke of Wellington, or his real name, Arthur Wellesley. All right, this went well the last time. We'll give it another try. Pencil and paper ready. Stella needs to find the area of a right triangle whose hypotenuse has a length of 10 and whose short leg has a length of 6. Since the sides form a Pythagorean triple and the area is half the base times the height, she computes for 20 points what area? Anybody? Time. I think I saw a hand in the audience. 24, yes. Number 4. This compound's concentration can be measured in Dobson units. This molecule's pungent smell often follows a lightning strike. Yes?
Sulfur.
That's incorrect. I believe it's for the green team only. I can continue. Okay. Ozone is correct, yes. That's good for 20 points. 2 more. This book's narrator is hired to replace Freslevin, who was stabbed in a quarrel over 2 black hens. Its frame story takes place aboard the Nellie, where Charles Marlowe describes a river journey through the African jungle to find Kurtz. For 20 points, name this novella by Joseph Conrad. Yes?
Heart of Darkness?
Heart of Darkness is correct for 20 points. And final toss-up for tonight. Since 2001, the NCAI has demanded that 20 Medals of Honor awarded for this event be rescinded. This event began after Black Coyote refused to give up his expensive rifle. For 20 points, in what 1890 event did the U.S. Army kill hundreds of Lakota civilians in South Dakota? Any takers? Time. That was Wounded Knee. All right, thank you, cadets. I have been told to keep everyone in their seats for just a moment here.
Hello, everyone. Quick reminder, you will be competing in uniform tomorrow, so make sure you're in uniform for your competitions tomorrow. The last thing here is we're going to wrap up here. The building does close at 10 o'clock, so everyone can gather their things. The building will be locked, so make sure you get everything, and it won't open until 7 in the morning. Thank you.
You got all of them? No, we still have 2 spots left, okay?
Where it began, I can't begin to know, but then I know it's growing strong. Wasn't the spring, and spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? And touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you.